Welcome to V.S.O.P Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ryan, and we are getting into week one of the NFL. The season's finally here, and we are going to be doing our best to give you guys a weekly recap of sports and news and everything, scores, everything. So, without further ado, let's jump into week one of the 2023 NFL season. It was a very exciting week. Usually I like to watch my sports on Red Zone, just so I can get just nonstop NFL action, you know, big plays, everything. So, but, at the end, it's nice to recap and go over the scores and any type of, game recap and anything like that. So, first game of the season was the Detroit Lions versus the Kansas City Chiefs. As you can clearly see, the Detroit Lions beat the Kansas City Chiefs 21-20. And the main highlights of that game were the drops by the receivers of Kansas City. Travis Kelce, I'm sure Patrick Mahomes misses this guy a lot because that guy knows how to play football and he's not dropping all those passes. So, as you can see, game leaders, Jared Goff, 22 of 35 for 253 yards and a touchdown. Pat Mahomes, 21 of 39. That is not the Pat Mahomes I know. 226, two touchdowns and an interception. Rushing yards, Montgomery for the Lions went for 21 carries, 74 yards and a touchdown. Pat Mahomes, wait, whoa. Pat Mahomes was the leading rusher. Yeah, that's not going to get it done. 6 carries, 45 yards. That can't be true. Josh Reynolds, 4 catches, 80 yards. Valdez Scantling, 2 receptions for 48 yards. It's just, it's just not going to get it done. It's just not going to get it done. So the next game, this one right here was another shocker. Bengals versus the Browns. Cincinnati only scored 3 points. I should have put some money on that. 3 points, and the Cleveland Browns put up 24 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is crazy. This game was played in Cleveland, and just to see the breakdown, I mean, for the Cincinnati Bengals to go scoreless in the first half, that just blows my mind. And to only have a field goal after halftime, I mean, just look at the type of work that after the first quarter, the score was tied, but that second quarter, Deshaun Watson, people forgot he was that dude in Houston. People forgot he was that dude. And so now that he's back with a full training camp and, all the distractions behind him now, it's going to be very interesting to see the type of treatment he gets on the road because, the opposing fans aren't going to be kind to him when he's, going to all these different stadiums, But let's take a look. Joe Burrow, 14 out of 31, 80. Wow. 82 passes, Joe. Joe Cool, the highest paid player in the league, only threw for 82 yards. I'd been real upset if he was my fantasy quarterback just for this week because he's definitely going to bounce back, but that's ridiculous. Deshaun Watson wasn't too impressive his damn self. 16 of 29 for 154 yards. All that talk about being that dude, I don't know, but they got the win. So rushing yards, Mixon, I've got Mixon on my fantasy team. He didn't do nothing, clearly. 13 carries and 56 yards. Nick Chubb, 18 for 106. He's that guy. Okay, Jamar Chase, yeah, I mean, when your quarterback only has 82 yards, I mean, there's only so much Jamar Chase can do. So, next game. Texans and Ravens. The Texans played at Baltimore. Texans lost 9-25. As you can see the breakdown, it looks like the Ravens really put in work in that third quarter. It looks like after halftime, I don't know what happened to the Houston Texans, but after halftime, they kind of just rolled over. As we can see, CJ Stroud, 44 pass attempts. That's a lot for a rookie, in his first game. But I guess the best way to get him out there and get him comfortable is to go out there and have him start throwing. So, hey, it is what it is. 28 for 44 for 242 yards, no touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 17 for 22. It's a great completion percentage, but he only had 169 yards. And I'm wondering, you know, what it is about Lamar Jackson not wanting to air it out that much. 169 yards and an interception, no touchdown. That's crazy. Rushing yards, leading rusher for the Titans is 38 yards. Lamar had 38. Wow, 38. Okay. Zay Flowers. I should have picked this kid up. Something told me, if you go back and watch my draft day special, something told me to pick up Zay Flowers, but I went with somebody else instead. But, it's only one game in the season, so we'll see how that goes. Next game, Buccaneers and the Vikings. Now, this was a pretty good game to watch, especially down the stretch. Buccaneers beat the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota 20-17. Baker Mayfield, 21 out of 34. 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. So far, these really aren't big passing games that I'm seeing here. Well, let me shut that up, because Kirk Cousins went for 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, throwing 33 of 44 passes. Okay. Rashad White, 39 yards for the Bucks. Alexander Madison, the guy who replaced Delvin Cook, only went for 34 yards. That's crazy. I mean, Mike Evans, 6 for 66 and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, this dude is no joke. 9 receptions for 150 yards. He's making fantasy owners very happy. Very happy. I wish this gave some defensive breakdowns. Let's definitely see. But you can see the difference in total yards: 242 to 369, passing yards 169 to 328, rushing yards, yards per play. So let's see. Okay, here we go. So first downs, Minnesota led 18-16. Third down efficiency, total plays. Let's see, punts. Fumbles lost. So the Vikings lost 2 fumbles and threw an interception. Time of possession was pretty much the same. So next game, Panthers and Falcons. Panthers were at Atlanta, lost 10-24. As you can see, Bryce Young, rookie quarterback, top pick in the draft, went 20 for 38 for 146 yards. With 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Now, I'm not going to be hard on these young rookies, but he's definitely got some improvement to go. But again, first game, you got to get out there and get that experience. So, not too bad. Desmond Ridder for the Falcons went 15 of 18. Let's see. Let's break it down. Total yards. So it's actually pretty crazy how the Panthers have more total yards than the Falcons, yet the Falcons outscored them. The Carolina Panthers led in passing yards, led in rushing yards. However, the Falcons did have more yards per play. So if we take a look, let's see, fumbles, interceptions. So as you can see, the Carolina Panthers lost a fumble, threw 2 interceptions, and, that's always going to hurt you down the stretch. So next game, the Cardinals versus the Commanders. The Commanders beat the Arizona Cardinals in Washington 20-16. Joshua Dobbs, who is starting for the injured Kyler Murray, went 21 for 30 for 132 yards, no touchdowns. Sam Howell, quarterback for the Washington Commanders, went 19 for 31 for 202 yards and a touchdown, as well as an interception. James Conner, my running back for my fantasy team, 14 carries for 62 yards. We got to get a little better than that, James. Whereas the Washington Running back Brian Robinson went for 59 yards on 19 carries. Rondell Moore had 3 receptions, 33 yards. And then Curtis Samuel for Washington had 5 receptions for 54 yards. So, we have more of a breakdown too here. We have more of a breakdown when it comes to rushing and all that good stuff. Defense, but we're gonna go straight into the next game. Jaguars and Colts. The Jaguars beat the Indiana Colts in Indianapolis 31-21. As you all know, the Indianapolis Colts had a rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Trevor Lawrence, 24 for 32 for 241 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, where Anthony Richardson went 24 out of 37 passes, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not bad for his first game. Rushing yards, Travis Etienne Jr. went for 18 carries for 77 yards for Jacksonville, whereas your leading rusher is Anthony Richardson. 10 carries for 40 yards. They're missing Jonathan Taylor, and that's really messing things up. Calvin Ridley, sleeper cell, 8 receptions for 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Not bad at all. Michael Pittman Jr., 8 receptions for 97 yards and 1 touchdown. So we're just going to take a quick look at the team stats. Okay. So fumbles lost. The Colts lost 2 fumbles, threw an interception, whereas Jacksonville lost 1 and threw 1. The Colts definitely won the sack battle. Pause. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the Colts do this season with their rookie quarterback. And so the next game, which is a game that hurts me, I'm a Steelers fan. And as you can see, the Steelers got beat down by the San Francisco 49ers. 30-7 in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett, 31 for 46, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Come on. Brock Purdy, 19 for 29. Brock Purdy's been in the league. Kenny Pickett's been in the league longer than Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, 19 for 29, 220 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's crazy how Brock Purdy just came in, stole the job from Trey Lance, and it's just crazy. Najee Harris, this is just disgraceful. 6 carries for 31 yards. Why did he only have 6 carries? Christian McCaffrey, this guy is an animal, a beast. A fantasy football dream come true. 22 carries for 152 yards, and that's not even catching. That's not even, the receiving yards that he has. Let's take a look, because Brandon Ayuk, 8 receptions, 120 yards. Let's check it out. So Christian McCaffrey, 22 for 152, and then let's look at Christian McCaffrey. Okay, he had 17 yards, not too great, but Brandon Ayuk, man, what a pickup. 129 yards, averaging 16 yards per play. Okay? The Steelers have got to be better. They just have to. Next up, we got the Titans and the Saints. Let's dive into it. Titans and Saints. The Titans lose to the New Orleans Saints 15-16 in New Orleans. Ryan Tannehill went 16 for 34 for 198 yards with 3 interceptions. I don't care who you are. That's just not going to get it done. That no touchdowns, and you got 3 interceptions. Ryan Tannehill is on the fast track to the bench, okay? Derek Carr went for 23 of 33, 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not bad. Jamal Williams for the Saints, 18 carries of 45 yards. Derrick Henry, 15 carries for 63 yards. I was a little disappointed in Derrick Henry. He is my fantasy football running back, and I need more numbers. From him. DeAndre Hopkins, 7 receptions. Let me tell you, DeAndre Hopkins playing for the Titans. His debut game with the Titans, 7 receptions for 65 yards, whereas the Saints' top receiver was Chris Olave, 8 receptions for 112 yards. Hopkins, you got to wake your game up. Next, we have the Raiders and the Broncos. This rivalry game is always one of the anticipated games, especially for an opening day. The Las Vegas Raiders beat the Denver Broncos in Denver, 17-16. Jimmy Garoppolo, very efficient, 20 for 26, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he threw an interception, but those numbers aren't bad, very efficient. Russell Wilson, however, went 27 of 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Russell could use a little bit more production. You got to be in the 200-yard range, okay? Especially if you're completing 27 out of 34 passes. Josh Jacobs for the Raiders rushed for 19 carries and 48 yards, where Javonte Williams with the Broncos went for 13 carries for 52 yards. Jacoby Myers, a sleeper cell, 9 receptions for 81 yards. He is looking like he is going to be Garoppolo's bailout guy, because somebody like Devontae Adams is clearly getting double coverage, and that really opened up space for Jacoby Myers to really go out there and make some plays. Look, 2 touchdowns, 81 yards, but 9 receptions. Come on, let's see how much Devontae Adams had. 6 for 66, no touchdowns, so the Raiders definitely, pulled out a win. It was very close, as you can see, but, they got it done. Next game, Eagles-Patriots. Philadelphia Eagles storm into New England and beat the Patriots 25-20. Jalen Hurts, 22 of 33 for 170 yards and a touchdown. Mac Jones, 35. This guy really went out there and threw the damn ball, didn't he? 35 of 54 passes for 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. With the quarterback comparison, I'm surprised the Eagles won this game. But if you look at the rushing yards, Ezekiel Elliott, no longer a Cowboy, in a Patriots jersey. 7 carries for 29 yards. We need more than that. Matter of fact, I want to see, A.J. Brown, 7 receptions for 79 yards. Let's see Ezekiel Elliott. I want to see. Wait, how do we? Okay, so we're gonna do the Patriots. Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, so this Ramondre Stevenson, 12 receptions for 25 yards. So this is what I'm seeing. So I have Ezekiel Elliott on my fantasy team, and you can clearly see that Ezekiel Elliott is more productive than Stevenson. Stevenson had 5 more carries for 4 less yards. So looks like Ezekiel Elliott might just get that starting spot. Next game, Rams-Seahawks. Let me tell you. The Rams go into Seattle and beat the Seahawks 30-13. I have Geno Smith as a quarterback, and I just got to say how disgusted I was with that performance. 16 of 26 for 112 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, look at Matthew Stafford, 24 for 38, 334 yards. And the reason why I went and got Geno Smith, because I said I knew for a fact he was going to throw the ball to DK Metcalf. But, oh, look, DK Metcalf only has 3 receptions for 47 yards. Okay. And let's see what his buddy, Tyler Lockett, 2 for 10. That just Geno, what the hell? Come on, man. I need more production on the field. Whew. Next game, Dolphins-Chargers. As you guys can see, the Miami Dolphins stroll into Los Angeles and beat the Chargers 36-34. Tua Tagovailoa, 28 of 45 for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns. Let me tell you something. This guy, Tua, is special. I had him on my fantasy league last year. And the only reason why I didn't get him this year because, the whole concussion thing. A little nervous about that. But look at the production this guy's putting up. 466 yards. Man, let me tell you. He's at this pace, he might mess around and be the best quarterback in the league this year. Okay, already has his team off to a 1-0 start. Let's see what happens. Justin Herbert, on the other hand, 23 of 33 for 228 yards and a touchdown. Mostert for the Dolphins, 10 carries for 37 yards. Austin Eckler, Baller, 16 carries, 117 yards, and he's out there catching passes as well. Tyreek Hill paid a bill. Oh my goodness. 11 receptions for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. That guy is special. 215 yards opening day. They can't cover this guy. They cannot cover this guy. He's got his ring. He's got his money. He's got his bling. He's doing his thing. There's nothing left to say. Keenan Allen for the Chargers. 6 receptions, 76 yards. Okay, let's see what else we got here. That brings us to the next game. Packers, Bears. The Green Bay Packers stroll into Chicago and beat the Bears 38-20. And let me tell you, Justin Fields just looks awful. 24 of 37 for 216 yards, 1 touchdown. You know what? Let me take that back. His offensive line is terrible. Okay? Every time we turn around, he's under duress. He's over there, getting sacked, tackles for losses, getting knocked down, under pressure, everything. Jordan Love starting for Aaron Rodgers, who has left Green Bay and gone to the Jets. Jordan Love, 15 for 27, 245 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Great job, Jordan. Aaron Jones, 9 carries for 41 yards and a touchdown. And he led his team in receiving as well for 2 receptions for 86 yards. Justin Fields had 9 carries for 59 yards. Next game, Cowboys versus the Giants. Let me tell you, the Dallas Cowboys smacked around the New York Giants 40-0. How do you let a team beat you 40-0? I can't fathom. If I were in the Giants locker room, but here's the thing. Let's scroll down. Daniel Jones, 15 of 28 for 104 yards and 2 interceptions. This guy just got a major bag, and they don't want to pay Saquon the way he feels he should be paid. So when you think about that, you just paid all this money to a guy who just got you 104 yards on Sunday Night Football. This wasn't some afternoon game that just kind of fell in the cracks. This was Sunday Night Football. Let me tell you, I'd be pissed off if I was the coach, the owner, whatever, because that is ridiculous. And this was a rivalry game. They say this is the largest win margin for a shutout that the Cowboys ever had, and the largest loss shutout margin for the Giants. So both teams making history on Sunday Night Football. And lastly, Monday Night Football. Buffalo Bills are up as we speak 13-6. But here's the kicker. Aaron Rodgers carted off the field during the first drive. The Jets finally score an elite quarterback, only to lose him in the first quarter on the first drive. So, as you see, Zach Wilson's in the game. And I know that Jets fans everywhere are just in tears. He had an ankle, Rodgers had an ankle injury, and it didn't look good. He was carted off the field, placed in a walking boot, limping very gingerly, and it doesn't look good. I'm going to go ahead and call it. The Bills are going to win this game. It's heading into the fourth quarter, and you hate to see it for the Jets, especially on opening night, 9/11. Everybody celebrating New York. You got Buffalo, New York versus New York City. And it's unfortunate that a Monday night football game like this, you know, becomes less exciting because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. So that's it for week one. Like I said, it's not completely done yet, but I'm pretty sure, the Bills will win this. But so guys, that's week one. I appreciate you guys for joining me for this recap. I am looking forward to doing weekly score recaps every week. You guys make sure you guys join me for that. If you enjoyed this vibe, then make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week for week two post game analysis. Till then, you guys have a good one. Peace.